Hi everybody, this is Maferefun Day, and I'm here making the second part to this video of Olokun and their children. The reason why I'm making this second part is because I got some responses back from the video that I wanted to address right now and expand upon. So I received an email from one of my fans, one of the people that watches my videos, and she was very helpful and she expanded herself being a child of Olokun. She expanded on a few things that I also wanted to bring up with you guys and read some of the extra information that she sent to me. So one of the things that she sent was we rarely stay in our marriages. I guess majorly because we get bored and tired of being with the same person for too long, for a long time. If we stay with the same man or woman, there is a chance they are an Olokun child as well. That way we can match our sexual drive and appetite. Okay, if you go back on the first video, remember that I said it. Children of Olokun tend to have a high sexual need or sexual desire or a need for sexual pleasure, etc. So Olokun is very well known for the amount of concubines and the amount of spouses and or servants that pleasure Olokun sexually in one way or another. So that makes that makes a lot of sense. Another thing she mentioned was our friends are very few. But when we call you a friend, it's forever. People want us as friends, but we tend to choose carefully. I guess because we prefer our own company. So as I mentioned before, I think if I'm not mistaken from the other video, children of Olokun are very, very picky overall with a lot of their things. This obviously includes their friendships. We bless another thing she mentioned was we bless people we are close to. If they are our spouses or partners, they notice an increase in income and lots of financial gains in their lives. Blessings from Olokun are very well known because Olokun, like I said, Olokun is a deity of royalty who has a lot of emphasis on money and wealth. All of the money and all the wealth comes from the ocean, etc. And in the ancient times, Olokun's cowrie shells, the cowrie shells, which were the blessing of Olokun, was what was used as money and as currency and as currency in the world. So Olokun has always been associated, was the primordial deity associated with wealth and business and dealings and trade and currency and exchange of wealth, etc., etc. Another thing she mentioned was we tend to defend injustice. We would fight those who fight our friends, and we are protective of them too. I will agree with that. However, I want to expand on that just a tiny little bit. Although Olokun children do tend to have very few friends, they do tend to be a little possessive over their friendships, but they also tend to be calmer. So I'm not sure. I guess this will depend, obviously, on different people and different things and what might be going on. But I will have to a little bit. I will agree to disagree just a little bit on that point. They tend to be, in my opinion, the ones that I have met tend to be a little bit more subdued and tend to be a little bit more peaceful. So although they're very well known for their confrontations when it does happen, they tend to try and avoid confrontations from actually happening. Another thing she mentioned was if allowed, we tend to fall in love with both sexes, irrespective of gender. Like I said, children of Olokun tend to have a lot of sexual appetite. We go back to the same thing. They tend to have sexual need, and sexual need goes beyond gender identity or sexuality or anything. Sex is just simply sex, whether it's masturbation, whether it's with a male, whether it's with a female, etc., etc. That includes sexual kinks, being any form of sexual kinks and any form of sexual behavior and conducts. Like, they tend to find those type of things exciting and thrilling. Another thing she mentioned was we are very proud and confident of ourselves. We never get shy. Yes, in this point I also agree and disagree a little bit. So although yes, children of Olokun tend to be very, very self-confident and very head-on strong, I do feel that they tend to be shy. The ones that I have met tend to be very quiet. They like to stay, if there's a group of people, they like to stay off to the side, to the corner, like watching into the group of people, watching into their friends, seeing what is going on, what everybody's speaking about, etc., etc. So, but when they do interact, they tend to be very funny, they tend to be very witty, they tend to be very sarcastic, they tend to be very blunt, and they definitely are a fun time to be around. So, another thing she mentioned was we are innately introverted but socially extroverted. People like our company, but we prefer to have our fun at home. Our homes are the best. Our homes are our best sanctuaries. Okay, I go back to what I just said. In a group setting, they tend to stay outside. Or like if there's a group, they tend to stay out on the outer limits of the group, looking in, etc., etc. I have been to several houses of children of Olokun, and I do have to agree with that part. Being in their house always feels good, always feels warm, it always feels welcoming, and they do tend to go out of their way to make you feel comfortable in whatever situation it is, whether they're making dinner or you're just hanging out. Next point made by this amazing fan of mine. Next point was physically, we are charismatic and charming. We bring life to a gathering, and most people get envious of that. I will agree with that. A lot of people, like I said, to me, the children of Olokun that I've met have been very shy, but once you get to know them, they are very charismatic. They are very nice people overall. And I'm sure that other people will feel somewhat uncomfortable or somewhat envious. However, I do have to say that the people that I have come across, even though that they might be aware of someone else's jealousy towards them, they just tend to dismiss it because so far, to me, children of Olokun are so self-confident that they don't need someone else's approval of their actions or their behaviors, etc., etc., versus other people who feel that they need to have that particular approval from someone else. Next point. I love it because she sent me like, a bunch of points. So, next point. We are very patient people, but when you get out of line, our temper is like a volcano. We are good until we get upset. That part of me amazes me till today. I totally agree with this, and I already said it. Children of Olokun tend to avoid confrontation, but when confronted, they go ballistic, they go wild, and they go insane. Not just fighting, but screaming and kicking and throwing and breaking, and just the scene just becomes more and more intense, and more and more and more. 1 second. More and more intense and more serious by the minute. So, children of Olokun do tend to have a very, very strong temper. Like Olokun, there's a Pataki of Olokun in which Olokun just got so angry that he or she wanted to just completely drown the world. That is what Olokun does. When Olokun is calm, everything is good. But when Olokun gets wild, it just obliterates whatever's on its path. As you all know, the same thing happens with the ocean. The ocean is a manifestation of Olokun. So when the ocean is at peace, everything's good. But when the ocean gets mean or wild or something goes wrong in the ocean, it'll just destroy cities and buildings and kill anything and everything on its path, etc., etc. That is a simile, that is a comparison to the wrath of Olokun and the power of Olokun. And the very last point that she sent me, but not the least, is we are very protective over our children. We kill for them. Once again, Olokun is known for a lot of concubines. Olokun is known for a lot of children. Olokun is known for a lot of anything and everything. So a lot of money, a lot of wealth, a lot of children, a lot of partners, a lot of clothing, a lot of land, a lot of palace, a lot of this, a lot of that. It's a lot of everything. Olokun is the epitome of exaggeration and the epitome of abundance and the epitome of having more than what is needed. So obviously, killing for one's children, it goes back to the temper of the children of Olokun and to the temper of Olokun. While everything's okay, they will behave okay. But if you touch something obviously that they love or they desire or that they want, they will go ballistic on you, and they're gonna go and they'll just throw a hissy fit that will be intense. So whether you have children or not, this includes, as children, for example, this will include one's pets. Anything happens to the pet of the person, and they will go ballistic trying to figure out and right the wrong that was done to them or to their pet or to their loved one, etc., etc., etc. So Olokun, once again, everybody, Olokun is a Titan energy. Olokun is such a big manifestation of pure raw Ache that it is very hard to control it sometimes, and it is very interesting and very important for everybody who deals with Olokun to always keep their head on their shoulders while working with Olokun, and make sure that whatever you do with Olokun is always done to the best of your abilities, to the nicest of your abilities. And Olokun is definitely an Orisha that you want to tread with lightly, and make sure that everything between you and Olokun is settled as best as possible. So this is just an expansion on this as a second part to the Olokun and their children's video. Thank you so much. I will omit her name because I think we settled on not saying her name, but it was a lady. And I am so thankful for everybody else who watches me, and I hope that this video helps everybody else. Keep sending me your messages, keep sending me your comments, keep sending me all of the beautiful things that I get from all of you guys, and I will see you guys in one of my next videos. Thank you guys for watching me. Ache, 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 do.